Hi, welcome to New Bedford Youth LIVE Podcast, where Dream Out Loud students interact with New Bedford creatives. I'm your host, Cam. It's my co-host, Luka, and with award-winning Adam Marashio.
Hi.
Okay. So we're going to start off first with my co-host, Luka, asking the icebreaker question for Adam. Go ahead, Luka.
All right, for the first question, I just want to ask, what filmmaking genre are you like the most passionate in with the films you make and create?
Okay, so for me, like I've always been drawn to like documentary style films. Like I've always loved that because I've always loved learning about history. It's one of those things like it, takes like boring history books and it turns it into like a very like interesting story arc. So first and foremost, I've always loved that. The only problem is when it comes to, figuring out, right, like how do I take something that, really, really happened and turn it into an interesting story, something that, can be followed. It's kind of like this trapeze between like, all right, staying, truthful to like, the real events, the real facts, but also putting like your own, level of artistic creativity on it. But secondly, for me is kind of like, these, I like to call them, I guess, video essays. It's kind of like a diary into your life, but it's not a vlog. It's something more than that. So like for me, I've always thought about like people that write, in their journals and they try to get that out, through getting their emotions out. But for me, it's basically taking the idea of journaling and turning it into a film. That's kind of what my short film from last year was. But it's important to not just be like talking about, oh, this is what I did. It's taking that, those life experiences, and putting it in this like nicely, packaged final product of like, this is kind of a little peek into my life. And hopefully by sharing that with other people that maybe that can help somebody. So those are like my two like favorite genres.
So for the next question, you mind tell us like a story of how you like got into like start filmmaking?
Yeah, so it's funny because for years, like I always like would pretend that like I had an audience. Like I got a 3DS for Christmas, I think, when I was in like, I don't know, third grade. And I would just like record myself and just pretend like I had a channel and just pretend like I was talking to people, even though I didn't even know how to upload a YouTube video.
Yeah.
But
I did the same thing with my brother. Like we would hop on like
Yeah.
Xbox and stuff and just play like I was like Call of Duty or like Far Cry.
yeah,
Or just like Minecraft. We'll like explain like we was maybe like 5. We had like a bunch of like teddy bears, so we had it in the background. And we would just sit there, act like we're recording. We had like this imaginary camera here, and it was just fun times when imagination was just like imagination. It wasn't just like, oh, you're weird for having like imaginary friends and stuff. And it was just like, I feel like at that age, stuff is just like great.
Yeah, and you want to like when you start out with like something like that young and you're pretending that you have an audience, you kind of, I guess, you channel that like as you get older. Like it kind of just keeps going. So there's like a snowball effect where I kept doing it for so long. I'm like, well, now I'm just naturally used to talking to a camera. And I think like a lot of Gen Z, growing up watching YouTube videos and seeing creators not just making like a one-off thing, but literally making careers out of it. That really, I think, without YouTube, I don't think I would have been, it wouldn't have been on my radar as much. Let's just put it that way. But like from that exposure, I think it was COVID that like really set things off for me. Because
did it for everyone. I feel like
Sure.
COVID, everyone was just like inside all day. It was all quarantine. Everyone just like, and at that age, like like me personally, that's at the age where you start to hit like puberty and stuff, and you want to like see what other people think and other people think about you. And it was kind of just like TikTok was like popular at that time, but
Mm.
before that it was Vine. And I feel like Vine, it wasn't really like as like appreciated, but since TikTok was happening like during quarantine, I feel it was just like really appreciated, and everyone just did it just for like fun. So like, because at that age, everyone's in puberty, want to see this and that, so that's what everyone would do. They would um just post what they would think. Like I remember one time I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw this video from like start of quarantine.
Mm.
I was like, yo, this video came out like 5 years ago in March. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. You're like, time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I think that with COVID, you know, obviously for a lot of people it was horrible. Like I had family members that did not enjoy it at all. And for me it was the opposite. It was kind of an opportunity to just go. I wanted to, you know, start making stuff because I knew that you know, I have all this time to myself. I got to do something with it. So that was probably what really catapulted me.
Yeah. And for me, it was just I started doing stop motion. It's just catapulted from there, doing actual film stuff and music
Yeah.
videos. Yeah. Next question would be: what inspires you just to film and create the What's Next short film you did last year?
So I had a lot going on, and I still do. I still do. I say it like I don't, but I have probably even more going on now than I did before. But um, junior year and honestly, pretty much freshman and sophomore year, all of that combined, it's just been like a crazy journey. And I wanted to make this. All was conceived at the end of my freshman year. It just took me a long time to get around to doing this because I'm a procrastinator. So at the end of freshman year, like, you know, I had a lot of stuff going on, and I was just like, man, like I gotta make like, I don't know, I was thinking like coming of age, that kind of that genre. And I didn't want it to be corny. Like coming of age
Yeah.
films are like really just
Sometimes it's be too corny. You
Yes.
just don't
I
wanna watch
thought a good coming of age movie. I literally just watched it with my mom like the other day because I was at her house for Mother's Day,
Mm.
and it was taking place like during like that time she was coming of age.
Yeah.
So the movie mid-90s, we was watching that. That's a
Mm.
really good movie. Inappropriate, but it's like
I
it
mean,
shows what was happening.
how people grew up.
Kids growing up in the 90s coming of age, and it was just showing like all the bad things that could happen if you go down the wrong path
yeah.
with certain people. And it was just like it's so amazing to watch because my mom, she had to go through all that stuff. Everything they was doing, she was doing at that age too.
Mm.
So it was kind of like just showing, hey, like if y'all think your family's like your parents are cringy now, like this is stuff.
Yeah, like
they
this is how it
did,
was for them then.
Like this is
Yeah.
what was happening.
Yeah.
This was like 30 years ago too. So
Mm. Yeah, but it was just one of those things though where you know, I knew I had an idea, but like I was like, okay, I can't be like, you know, doing what everyone else has already done. And I knew I might, you know, tiptoe over things that have already been done because it's kind of impossible to have an original idea because so many people have made things. It's just that, all right, someone might have done something before, but it's like, okay, well, draw back from your own life. And you know what? Everyone has their own unique experiences, even if it's like the same basic thing, it was in your own way. You know, so it's still possible to take something that's been done and make it something new. But it was kind of conceived back then, but it was only like during junior year where your junior year of high school, it's like that's the year that colleges care the most about your grades. It's the year that you join the most clubs. It's the year that you do the most amount of things. And I was realizing that I was trying to kind of be this like jack of all trades and just do everything that I actually ended up spreading myself too thin, and I took no time to work towards building my YouTube channel, towards making films, and I kind of felt very unfulfilled because despite all the other accolades and stuff, I wasn't actually doing the thing that I actually wanted to focus on the most. So that was me kind of locking in,
Yeah.
locking in and going, okay, I need to talk about this. And you know what? What's a better way to try to counteract that than by just making a film about it.
Like, the film explained a lot of, like, the short film explained a lot of the
Yeah.
problems. There's, like you were saying, all the different stuff happening in high school. I mean, I just started it. It's
Yeah.
almost over with freshmen, but a lot of stuff happening. And start the next question.
Yeah. So while we were making these questions, that's one I feel like I really want to know, cause how did you get involved of winning an Emmy in the New Bedford Film Festival while only be 17?
Yeah. So I'll be honest. I really expected nothing. Like, I mean, I knew like when I made What Next, I pulled like 2 all-nighters consecutively. Like, I didn't sleep for 48 hours. And that was because, again, I'm a big procrastinator. So I was like talking to my teacher, Mr. Fernandez. Like, this was like a week before like the Emmy Awards were like due. Like, there was like, you had a submission date cut off, and I only had the intro to it. Like, I had the first minute, and I'm like, I gotta make like all this happen like now. Like, there's no ands or buts. So I just said, you know what? I was gonna do it. Like, I did. It was Saturday, Sunday, and then into Monday, I didn't go to school, and I just hammered it out, and it was done. And it was like, all right, chef's kiss. It's like, it's over now. But like, I was like, it'll probably get like 1 regional and like call it a day. I wasn't expecting like it to get 2 regionals and then eventually go on to the nationals and win one, because to me that was so far out of reach. I'm like, there's so many people that are in my head anyway. I was like, there's so many people that are better than me, and I was just like, I didn't put enough time into it. I actually, like, for my montage at the end, none of that footage was like stuff that I recorded for it. It was like I was scrounging through like my 5 terabyte hard drive, being like, all right, what memories over the past 6 years can I just randomly draw from? And so I found stuff that I hadn't looked at in years. And in a way, though, it kind of worked out because it made it a little bit more authentic. I wasn't trying to be like, hey, nostalgia, even though it was all fabricated for the sake of the film. Like, all of that was real stuff. Like, me and my friend at the elementary school down the street kicking around a soccer ball, I put my dad's phone up on the fence, and it fell and it cracked the lens on the basketball court while we were playing soccer. So like, I took that scene and I was like, boom, but no, I had no expectations. So I was really like, I was just so humbled to see that.
So it's just like a last minute film.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was really like,
I can
really surprised.
All right. Just as a little personal question for me, because I've been on this writer's block. But how do you overcome writer's block when it comes to writing film scripts or just making the films at all?
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for asking me while I'm about to finish my research paper unrelated, but the writer's block has been so real. No. So when you're trying to, and this is like advice that I've gained from other people, so I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I came up with this, because I didn't, but it's good knowledge to pass on, because I think it's really important. I was at a film festival recently in Texas. It's called Creator Camp. It was an inaugural year. It was a group of like 20-something-year-olds that all banded together to try and make their own Hollywood, because they realized that Hollywood is very saturated. Some of the people that I was inspired by, the CEO of Patreon was there, and I got to talk to him, and he was just such a chill guy. Like, he was just an average dude. Like, you would not know he was the CEO of a company. Like, I was like, oh. And seeing all those people there, and there was this one father-daughter duo, and the father was good friends with Quentin Tarantino. So he was talking about the conversation that he had with Quentin. And, there was kind of this moment where there was these 3 directors all sitting around a table, and Tarantino, he makes movies for himself.
Yeah.
And so, like, obviously it's kind of like, well, I make it for myself and you get to enjoy it. And then there's another person that says, I just do it for the audience. I don't care what I think. And then there's the third perspective, which is really interesting. Would you still make a movie if there was no one to see it?
Yeah, that's...
like, would you, if you were the only one that could watch your movie, would you still make a movie? You know what I mean? But they gave some really interesting advice about the screenwriting, which is, if you're stuck on something and you don't know what to do, think about what's going on in your life, right? But like, you don't actually have to make the movie literally about the thing. Like, in my case, I did, but like, let's say there's this one guy, he made a movie about space and this astronaut that's stuck in space, right? And you're probably wondering, oh, he must have been really into sci-fi. Like that was his whole thing. He loved space, but no, he literally couldn't think of like what to make. And his friend asked him, well, like, how do you feel right now? And he's like, I feel like so lost. Like I feel like I'm in a void and I feel like I'm just kind of floating in space. And he's like, okay, do a movie about a guy that's lost in space. Like he lost off his tether and now he's floating around. Like, and he was like, oh shoot. So like it's because it came from a personal place that he was able to make a movie that was so good. Not because, oh, I wanted to make a sci-fi movie, but like it was personal to him. So in a way, it's kind of a metaphor for what he was feeling. So if you're in a writer's block and you're like, I don't really know like what to write, really like dig deep to what you're feeling and what you've have been thinking about, and try to use any of those things for a metaphor that can apply to literally any genre that you want to do. You just got to like try to like, it's not very obvious that the director, was battling personal issues. And when you watch that movie, it's like, you wouldn't think that at all. You would just think it's a cool sci-fi movie, so it doesn't have to be literally like front and center showing, but you can draw some good metaphors from your own life.
So how has New Bedford influenced or helped your filmmaking journey?
So it's actually immensely helped me like so much because I'm not gonna lie, like again, like with COVID really killed a lot of the media program at Fairhaven. It's coming back, especially with a new teacher. But for a while it was like kind of dead, and then we lost a teacher in between. So not really having like, there's not really like a very, very dedicated, I feel like, film community at Fairhaven. Like there used to be, there was actually like a film festival at the town hall every year, but like the last poster that I saw for that was in like 2017. Now I don't know if that's still a thing, but that's just the last poster that we have at our school. So not having that kind of active structure, I felt like I was really missing out on something. So when I found out the New Bedford Film Festival was happening, I'm like, whoa, like that's a huge deal, because I thought, this is the kind of thing you got to travel like miles for, and not having something in your own backyard. So having that there, even though it's like still roughly in its infancy, it's still growing. And, it's helped me because, just being able to meet people and realizing how many people there are around here that love doing what I do, and not having realized just how many there are out there that are like that. It makes you realize, you're not alone in doing this. There is a built-in community. You just got to utilize what you got there. So yeah.
Any advice you'd give to any up-and-coming filmmakers that's struggling to
like a quote maybe?
Okay.
Close it out.
So, they say like, I give out advice, but then I don't follow my own advice. Like that's kind of, there's one thing that I'm trying to work on, that if I could give advice to anyone, it would be this, which is like, it's not always gonna be perfect. Like it's not, because the problem is you get hung up on it and you think that every single time you make something, it's gotta hit. Like it's gotta be so good that everyone loves it and it's grand slam, home run. You're never gonna make anything. And like that's where I've been at right now, where I was, the whole reason why like I didn't make anything for a long time was I was like, it's got to be so good or else I'm not making it. Like that's it. But by doing that, I mean, throughout all my years, like I've made I've made 2 short films and a music video, which again is not it's still not bad, but it's like, I think you can make a lot more progress in a shorter amount of time if you just allow yourself to be like, after you finish it, you're like, yeah, like I cut corners on things. It was but you know what? Now I know what I want to do next time, and now I can build on that, So I think like that's really important, because my music video, there was a bunch of stuff I wanted to do and it didn't happen, but people still really liked it, even though I personally thought it wasn't that good. But so I wouldn't get too hung up on the little details.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for everyone for watching this podcast with me and my co-host and our guest Adam. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Of course. Thank you.